have been in this notebook for a month and a half, and I already passed the middle point of this Moleskine expanded. I call it my everything journal, but it also serves as a commonplace book, as everything that I find interesting or that inspires me goes in here. This has been, the notebook that takes everything that comes to my mind. And just like all the previous notebooks before this one, this is a place for mindfulness, to be present. And I like to share some of the things I write down because, it may spark inspiration in some of you. You can get some ideas on the kinds of things that you can write down in your notebooks, in your commonplace books. For me, I have been learning to catch most of my thoughts. I rarely leave a thought, just in my mind. I made a habit of writing everything down. And I think that has been one of the most useful habits I have developed as an adult. So I think this is volume, what is this? This is 1, 2, 3, oops, 4, 5, 6. Wow. This is 2 years of journaling. Because I hope this makes sense. This is 2023. This, like half of this and all of this, is 2024. And this is 2025. I expect 2025 is going to have at least 3 volumes, which is exciting. The evolution of how I've been working with my everything journals and the kinds of things I write down and how I index my content and the things I reference, I do see changes in my journaling, and I appreciate those changes, and I have been truly enjoying them. Something else I would like to note, this is the first time I don't use a postcard or a picture as the cover of my journal. I have a video where I show an update on this cover. This is something I found on a magazine, and I fell in love with this design. So it was this magazine. I love her profile. I love the vibe of this illustration and the color palette. So I just cut it and pasted it. I used double-sided tape. I added also some washi tape, but as you can see, it's coming off. Also over here, because this is a soft cover and things tend to move around with a soft cover, which is fine. I do enjoy the feeling of a soft cover, but that's one downside. I showed some things in the previous video, but I always have sketches. So this is my brother. We went to a coffee shop, and we like to go to coffee shops and then we just sit and paint or draw or write. So I do sketch and doodle a lot. I was practicing cross-hatching. Over here I kept some of the papers from this year's Hobonichi release. I just kept some pieces. I thought it was an interesting illustration, the one they released this year. Like this guy. He's creepy, but he's interesting to look at. This came with the Hobonichi wigs I got from my mom. She let me keep this, and I thought it was beautiful, so I just kept it as it is, nothing else around. And then I did little planes with the things I want to let go of this year. So I made the planes and I wrote those things and pasted that, because this is the notebook I used to start the year, and it will be something nice to look back on. This is a quote by Hayao Miyazaki on AI. I feel like we humans are nearing the end of our times. It's a very strong take on AI, and I thought it was interesting. Here I have more quotes. So as you can see here, I have my tab for January. So this first section was December, then I have the beginning of January. And I always like to write down quotes that I find moving or inspiring. These ones are from my YouTube channel, Poetry of Slow Life. I would recommend that channel, it's very nice. And I loved her thoughts on the creative process, how she says that the biggest part of any creative process is the ability to see. So here are some more quotes from her. I always keep the information from the planners I buy or color pencils. So those of you who buy Hobonichi, you may recognize these. These I got from a Faber-Castell pencil case, color pencil case. And then I tried to do kind of this same effect for drawing people. I loved it. It's like cross-hatching, but I really like this effect. So I tried to do it here, and I would like to keep practicing with this. Here, very unrelated, I just love these art pieces by David Alfaro Siqueiros and some other painters. And here I have some quotes by Murakami on writing. So I just mix things that I find interesting, and it doesn't matter. I mean, it's my notebook. These are things that I find interesting, and you know your notebooks, you know your contents, and you know how to navigate them. And sometimes having a quote next to something like this makes it easier to remember where you wrote down some things. I showed this in my previous video. These are pages from this magazine on the forecast for Virgo this year. I haven't read the whole thing, but I guess I started collecting in here things I would like to look back on at the end of 2025, which is the list of things I want to let go of, and this, just to, be at the end of the year and then read what was kind of the forecast for the year to see how close it was. If you saw the video where I do a tour of this notebook, I started a drawing challenge, my 100 cups. It can be any beverage. It has to be a hot beverage. It's usually coffee. So this is my 11th cup. I'm still a long way from 100, but I'm still going. Here I have more doodles. Does this count as a doodle? These are lines, line work, circles. This is from What Now? Trevor Noah's podcast. I need to write down the person who said this, but I love this quote. Then I did this, and as you can see, there's a huge, bleed through in this paper, in this particular notebook is crazy, but it becomes part of the creative process. That the biggest complaint people tend to have when it comes to Moleskine notebooks is the paper quality and how bad it bleeds through. But for a creative notebook, for a creative space, it can be part of the creative process, if that makes sense. So I do like this, and I did this first, and then I had the quote, and then I thought this was the perfect place to have this quote. So this is ink, and as you can see, I still worked with this side of the page because I like the bleed through, and like I mentioned, it's part of the creative process for me. More doodles. Here I was practicing with circles and line work and more line work. Then I have my to-do list or planning for a day when I didn't have my bullet journal at hand. I was probably at a coffee shop and I just sat down and did a list of the things I wanted to get done. more doodles. I was color swatching a new set of color pencils. And then I started playing with gesso. That's what I have here, and I loved it. I love the texture. I love how it looks. I love how it feels and the weight it adds to the page. So here I have more gesso. You can't see it, I think. But I want to keep experimenting with gesso and mixed media. So I want to play with watercolor on this side and acrylic on this side. So that's where I am. I have mentioned this before. These are the parts that I can show on camera. That's why I have my tabs. 80% of what I write down in all of these notebooks is me just pouring my soul on the pages. Very similar to what you do with your morning pages, where it is a stream of consciousness. Just put everything out, everything that burdens you or burdens me, anything that makes me happy or hopeful, my thoughts, my aspirations, my literal dreams. I write down whenever I have a dream that I find interesting, I write it down as soon as I wake up. Actually, this notebook sleeps on my night table because of that. Those are the parts that I don't really show because it's very, very personal, and it's only meaningful to me, really, to write about the things that worry me regarding my kids' school and his education, or my job, or family situations. That's only meaningful to me. And this is a moment in my life, and the things that were meaningful to me in this particular moment. I know that my next Everything Journal / Commonplace book is going to be, I think it will be this one. This is a Harry Potter edition. But then I love so much decorating my covers that I'm still thinking about it. I'm having second thoughts about it, actually. I do love the Harry Potter edition. I love this cover. But it depends on how big is the urge to decorate my cover. I mean, I could very well start with this one and then halfway through the notebook decide that I want to add something on top of this. I mean, these notebooks are my creative space and anything goes. So that's where I am. I hope you found some inspiring ideas, some useful ideas. I love hearing back from you in the comment section below. Your comments always makes me very happy, and recommendations, anything. I love hearing back from you, and I really appreciate all of you. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.